Hello and greetings, everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here on day 2 of my 31 favorite rock albums that were released in the month of December. So it could be any year from back all the way back to, I think goes back to 1963. All the way up to now. Could be any year, but it was released in the month of December. Ironically, there isn't a lot of albums out there released in December, primarily I think because bands didn't want to, once you got that late in the year, you weren't actually considered for some of these rock awards or top this or top that, and they all wanted to get into that because it meant more views and more people buying their stuff, right? So I didn't have any other kind of limitations on it. Like there's no only 2 for this band or none of that. It's whatever were my top 31 favorite albums. Now, many of these I don't own for obvious reasons. Either they're too new and I haven't had that time to get them, or I've never followed the band before, or perhaps I never... or I had the album in vinyl and just never replaced it in CD. So yeah, so there's reasons why I don't have some. Some of them I'd like to have, but they haven't turned up yet. So one of the albums that I want to have is going to be today's album, number 30 for this series for the month of December, which is Peter Gabriel's I/O album. So this album came out, I can't remember exactly what month. I know I did it on my What's New album. So if you go to my What's New playlist, you can find it in there. And if you want to see what I thought of the album, you can do that through that episode. But basically, it's a pretty decent album. I think it's a little bit more laid back, a little more soft than a lot of his predecessors. There's only one track, I think, on there that's really kind of heavy. But the rest of the tracks are pretty mellow and very produced and synthesized and all that stuff, although Peter Gabriel's voice sounds fantastic on the album, as it always has, and on every album that he does. And you have different versions of the album. You have the light version, I believe, and the dark version. And I think there's also a version that's kind of a mixed version. So I will probably end up getting this album, hopefully before the end of the year. It's one of those albums that I like a lot, and definitely needs to be put in the collection. Now I do have a specific collection of new albums that I want to get, and this one is on that new list. So I'll try to purchase most of them as I go along, but as you know, it's kind of expensive. The albums themselves are not really all that expensive. It's just the delivery costs. Now, I've been trying to get some of these albums through the local record store. They only have the deluxe edition, so I have to kind of think about it for a bit before I purchase them. But this was one of those albums. And it's kind of iconic because I haven't had to do any kind of new Gabriel stuff for over 20 years. It feels kind of strange, but it's a solid album. I think it's probably better than the predecessor Up, which I didn't really care too much for, but that one's 20 years in the past now. So this one I think is pretty good, and so it's going to come here as my 30 favorite album of the 31 favorite albums that were released in the month of December, the series we're running for this month. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please, if you have, hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. If you want to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more of the episodes, you can do that at the top. And if you have any comments about this album or any album that I talk about, you can put those in the comment section below. And we will be back tomorrow with another episode. So take care and have yourself a good evening. Goodbye.